see the regular updates, whatever things are going, and also you can update your profile and get job updates. Those are things you can do. And very important things is not only CAE domain and other CAD domain and other domains also there. First, you have to whatever your interested field, and you have to understand what job you want to really do, and you can do some research and you can understand the job, and you can start preparing based on that. This is how I can next slide. This much I can say about the overall idea of what CAE works, general idea of what CAE works. Like Abhishek, we can go into it.
Hello, Abhishek. Are you there?
Karan, you can go ahead with the next person maybe.
Okay, sir. So next person is Pradeep. So Pradeep, are you there?
Am I audible to all? Hi, hello. Hello.
Yes, Pradeep, I can hear you.
Pradeep, yes, Pradeep.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Am I audible to everyone?
Yeah.
Hi, friend.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I am today. I'm actually talking about the career perspective on programming for mechanical engineering applications. Actually, I have finished my MCA and BMS IT itself in the year of 2017, and currently I am working as a project engineer. Can we go for next slide? Yeah, projects I have worked on in the current organization is an intranet portal for intranet for employees in the organization. Like it is a web-based application for monitoring employees' activities. Like the technologies what we have used is Java, Struts framework, and HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and MySQL. And the next project what I have worked on is like travel plan, which this is also a web-based application, like which keep track of travel of employees in the organization, traveling activities, all these things. Like these two projects, whatever intranet and travel plan, it is completely based on web-based application, which is in the in the field of computer science. Like following projects, whatever I had worked on it is related to mechanical engineering actually. Like Agootware, I can say like Agootware is a tool which is built on Python, and it takes as a input like files as a files as an input file input data. It will extract required data from the input files, kind of PCH file and set file PDF files. It will, and later on based on those required data as per the client requirements, it will calculate MAC and forces for element nodes and all for FEM models. Like this tool is built on Python. Tkinter is a package in Python again, like NumPy, dictionaries, ArrayList, and all. Hope I'm clear. Like everyone is audible, or I'm just going through the slides.
I can hear you.
Okay.
You're audible. Please proceed, Pradeep.
Yeah. Next project I had worked on is displacement tool. Like this tool provides you it will calculate MAC between two FEM models, and it will provide you some plots and curves for particular FEM models. And by this, the client client can predict like a design model, and the result will be in the form of Excel. Whatever the tool will calculate all the results, it will export all the results in the form of Excel, and it will provide the results to the users of the application. The technology what I have used is in this is VBA. And other customization programs also I have built, like using VBA technology only. Like these are the tools like which help the customer or the client to generate reports of FEM model, and they can get the reports and quickly take design decisions based on the results which is given by these tools. Next slide, please. Yeah. About my work, like currently I am working as a project engineer. My work is like gathering requirements from the client via Skype meetings and or mail conversations. Once I get the client requirements from the client for the tools, I used to like design the requirement flow and application flow, implement and tool testing. Tool testing has to do with the mechanical engineering engineers, with the help of my colleagues. Since I am from computer science background, I don't know much mechanical terminology. I used to take help of my colleagues to understand the requirements as well, and to test the application. And next part is delivering the customers as per the given timeline. Next slide. What, like in the computer science background or in the programming world, what a mechanical engineer can do, like there are so many openings for mechanical students who has good knowledge or understanding about programming. First of all, what they can do is, like as a mechanical student, it is very difficult to understand programming terminology. But so there are so many students who are who are interested in going in programming, as well as interaction with the mechanical things. What they can do is they can go for self learning. Of course, they will not be this part, whatever programming part, they will not be syllabus part. Of course, they have to go with the self learning, like planning a learning process, like how they can start is they can start learning on basic fundamentals what a programming needs, and then monitor and control the learning process, like whether if they have started self learning, whether they are understanding the concepts or not. Like they have to go through all these things and then evaluate strengths and weaknesses of learning process. Likewise, like in that, when a student goes for self learning, not only related to programming itself, there are some concepts there are some concepts in mechanical also which is not covered in syllabus, like university syllabus, and there are some other tools also there. For that thing also they can go for self learning process. And in programming, self learning is a most important thing, because whatever they will learn, that will be less only. Like they'll be if they learned some basic concept, there will be again next step, again there will be next step, again there will be next step. It will goes on increases. Like self learning process should be it should go on. Like it is kind of like understanding basic fundamentals of programming, how they can start. Like they can start with some basic programming like C, C++, and something. Yeah. Can you go for next one? Yeah. When I was talking about fundamentals of programming, in this I have provided fundamentals of programming. Like there is an image called which has some angle brackets, and then again angle less than or greater than bracket, and after that at the end of the statement again that less than or greater less than bracket slash and greater than. This is actually the fundamental, like to understand the statement in the code. Like you can say that this is a syntax of a HTML program. Like in those less than or bracket, less than or greater than bracket, there will be a HTML code, which is like you can understand. You can consider it as a one statement of program. Like when you are trying to learn something, like you have to go line by line code. Like if you are writing any program or something, like you have to trace out each and every line of the program to understand programming concepts. Yeah. Can we go for next? Practical understanding of programming. Like understanding basic fundamentals, like it is same like if you are building house, the basement should be more stronger, something like that. So if you have basic concepts stronger about programming, like you can learn any technology related to which will help you to get jobs in a mechanical field. Like there are some programming programs in mechanical field, like programming languages. First of all, you can go through Python and TCL, TK, and C, C++. These are the programming languages which will help you to if you learn these programming languages, it will help you to it will be the plus point for getting jobs in the organizations, because most of the people, most of the mechanical engineers, what organization is preferring is like mechanical knowledge plus programming. It will be the good combination for them to work on the thing, something like that. Like when you are following when you are working on self learning process, like you can go through any tutorials in YouTube. Like first of all, you should not go for directly for doing certified courses. Before that, you have to make yourself ready to understand certified courses. Like if you are going for certified courses for Java, Python, or C, C++, before that, prepare yourself your basement. Like understand programming terminology, like each and every statement of the program, like how it can be, how it will work, and each and every statement of the program, what it is for, actually, before going for further certified courses. Like when you are following tutorials on YouTube or whatever, whenever if you are writing programs, like try to trace out single statement of a program, what a single statement is doing in the code, something like that. Like as I said, try to understand again line-wise functionality of a code. Like line-wise means again, if you are tracing each and every statement or each and every condition in the program, like you will get to know what the program is doing. I can give some simple example here itself. Like I want to print a hello world application, like hello world. There in C language, there is a simple statement like printf double quotes hello world. If you run that program, like you have to again cover up this program in the form of C language. It is just not like printf will work continuously. So something like that. So try learning complex programming languages like C, C++, C#, Java, etc. Like if you these programming languages provide you fundamentals of programming languages. Like if you understand these concepts like C, C++, C#, and Java, you can learn any programming language, or you can go through any programming technology or something like that platform. Like C provides you the basic understanding of programming, how a program works, and you will get a basic idea like how to learn programming. Like before, again, as I said, before going for certification courses, build your fundamentals strong, so that when you are attending certification courses, like you will understand each and every tutorial what they are going to tell you. It should not be something like they are just telling and you are just writing it in a notebook, and it should be like when you are following tutorial, whatever tutorial it is, try to execute same program whatever they are explaining in the tutorial. You should not just write in the notebook or something like that. If you try executing in the laptop or in your own PC, you will get elaborated way of understanding the programming concepts, something like that. Yeah. Can you go for next? Yeah, this was from my side. Like if you have if you have any questions about programming languages, I will be very happy to answer the questions from your side.
Okay, thank you, Pradeep.
Yeah.
Shreyas, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there, Karan.
Okay.
Hello all. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm Shreyas, and I actually finished my master's in BMSIT, and I graduated in 2018. And Currently, I'm working as an engineer at Umlaut, and it is basically an aerospace service-oriented company. You can reach out to me at this email ID if you want. I mean, if there are any doubts or anything at all. And can you go to the next slide? So yeah, I don't know how many of you have observed as students over there, but there is actually a buggy built by some of your seniors in your college. So there was a requirement for us I mean, when the buggy had entered a competition, it broke down or something like that. So we had to, my objective was to find out why the failure happened in one of the suspension arms. So I basically tackled that portion to finish my project at CSM Software with the help of Kiran sir as one of the guides from the college, and also a couple of others from CSM Software itself. Can you, yeah. So before you understand, I mean, before you want to know the prospects of CAE, you need to understand what is CAE. So basically, if suppose you have any kind of a simple problem that you are studying as of now in your course, say you have a beam with a vertical load constraint at one point. This can be solved analytically with the help of formulas given in a textbook. But as and when the complexity of the problems keep increasing, there are loads of different kind and different directions where it is being applied, and when the cross sections keep varying across its length, and the geometry keeps changing like from each section. So you will need help of the computers to solve these complex problems. So what CAE basically comprises of is finite element analysis, multi-body dynamics, and computational fluid dynamics. Hopefully Abhishek will be able to touch on the CFD if his mic is fixed in time. But FEA has already been touched upon by Mr. Rakesh, where just to give a brief about it, you're just going to divide the continuum into discrete elements, and then you're going to apply boundary conditions and then solve for the stresses and displacements. Now, when it comes to multi-body dynamics, I don't know how many of you have come across this domain. It is fairly new to especially to the students, if not to the industry. Multi-body dynamics is very, what do you say, well acquainted with the automotive domain, where every automotive domain has to use multi-body dynamics as a part of its R&D activity. And a lot of the times MBD and FEA go hand in hand. So because multi-body MBD basically deals with a lot of rigid body simulations. So if you want to know what is happening to a flexible body, what kind of stresses are being developed into that component, you need to couple these MBD and FEA techniques together. And as Pradeep spoke in his section, he stressed a lot upon programming. Programming is very vital these days as a requirement. It is a very sought after requirement from recruiters and from organizations, because they want to speed up the process that is involved in this. So the only way of speeding it up, the only way of automating it is by by mixing scripting along with these FEA and MBD techniques. So yeah, you can refer to these pointers as well to further your career in CAE. Can you go to the next slide? So in FEA, basically there is a concept called pre-processing, and then post-processing, and then in middle comes the solver. So pre-processing is nothing but you're preparing your model with what do you say, a discretized continuum. You're giving it material properties, you're giving it loading and boundary conditions. All these things can be done using packages like MSE Patran, MSE Apex, and then Altair HyperWorks. So if you I mean, currently the market demands that students or any engineer know these kind of packages because these are widely used in the industry. So I strongly suggest that you guys get hold of these kind of softwares because I mean there are student versions of these softwares available too, where it will help you to model things in very in a limited structures. Maybe it gives you a cap on the elements, number of elements, but you should be able to get an idea of how these software tools work. And the solvers that are being used in aerospace and automotive industries in a wide range is Nastran and Abacus and ANSYS. ANSYS, I think you have been acquainted to a little bit in your coursework itself. At least by 6th semester, students should be able to gauge what ANSYS can do. But Nastran and Abacus is an industrial level kind of a solver that is used. And with regards to MBD, you have MSc Adams, where multi-body dynamic simulations are carried out using this tool called MSc Adams. Adams again is branched out into other different industrial verticals to suit automotive, aerospace, and other kinds of industries. For example, you have MSc Adams Car for automotive industries, and MSc Adams Rail, VI Rail for railway industries, and VI Aircraft for aircraft industries. So the scope is increasing in the MBD field, if at all any of you are interested. And the counterparts for MSc product that is Adams is you have Altair, Motion Solve, and Motion View. These are its competitors. And VI is integrates with MSc products. So these are all industrial versions. Though for student point perspective, you can look into MSc Adams View. It is available in MSc software website, and you can download the student version of it. All you need is an ID card, college ID card. You upload it there, they'll give it to you. And then, some of the CAE tool developers that are stationed in Bangalore itself are MSc Software, Dassault Systems, Altair, ANSYS. You can look at applying to jobs to these companies if at all you're interested in developing these tools So MBD simulation, basically how it is different from FEA is FEA has thousands of degrees of freedom that is involved into the component. Whereas in MBD, what we are trying to do is we are trying to decrease the degrees of freedom to a maximum extent possible. Can you see the contours that are changing on the stabilizer? This stabilizer is basically converted from rigid body to flexible body. But if it is simulated in a rigid body condition, the degree of freedom of that component is reduced to 6. So you can imagine the equations of motion, like how simple the equations of motion will be for the solver to solve it. The main idea of using MBD simulations is we want to carry out system level of simulations, whereas in FEA and CFD you're calculating, you're observing the simulations in the component level, where you are only going to observe what is going to happen to one component using the loads and boundary conditions. Whereas over here it is a more dynamic response. The inputs that are given are dynamic, that is the inputs are changing with respect to time, and the outputs are also dynamic. The main objective of this, can you go to the next slide? Yeah. So the main objective is to see what kind of loads and forces are acting on different joints and different bushings that are going to be placed in an automotive. And also, this tool is widely used in vehicle dynamics. If you guys are interested in vehicle dynamics, you guys should tap onto this concept as much as possible. And also, suppose if you are trying to test a certain component for its life or for anything, for fatigue life or anything, it is not sensible to create the physical prototypes again and again for each case. Say you have a stiffer spring or I mean, in a vehicle, and you want to observe its vehicle response to a certain bump on the road or something like that. It is not ideal to keep changing the spring and damper every time you want to see what the observation is. So what you can do is you can create a virtual model, virtual prototype, and on Adams card itself, and within within a few clicks, you'll be able to change the spring stiffness properties, damping properties, everything, and then you can basically carry out iterations and simulations just to recognize the reactions of the component or the system which is at study at a much faster pace, and you can in the meantime you can save a lot of time and a lot of manpower. And certain tips that I want to give you to concentrate on the kind of subjects that you are being exposed to. I think most of you must have come across subjects like kinematics of machines, dynamics of machines, dynamics in mechanism design, FEM, and mechanics of materials. If you want to get into structural analysis, I think these subjects are very important for you to build your fundamentals on. Can you go to the next slide? So this is also another case study where the entire full car has been prepared on MSc Adams. The geometries might look like it does not look like a car itself, but what happens is we are trying to capture the behavior of the actual part by capturing its mass and moment of inertia and density values. By doing so, this car that is being modeled on Adams will basically replicate the physical prototype that is that is in study. Here we can see that the contours of the here we can see that the contours of that knuckle is changing. We can in real time we can see what kind of stresses are being developed in this component because of the loads that are acting from the road and by the loads that are being distributed through the suspension arms. So it is kind of interesting for certain few who are into vehicle dynamics. Can you go to the next slide? So as students, I want to give you certain pointers before you go to job hunting. That one thing is you have to be strong with your fundamentals. All your tough subjects that you come across in mechanical engineering, all those subjects are required. You need to carry that knowledge on to your work environment. So be strong with your fundamentals. In your interviews, they are going to ask you only on your fundamentals. They will not ask you on the current state of technology, like what are they doing or anything like that. Your fundamentals must be up to point. And then try and get internships into your portfolio as much as possible. I mean, if you want any pointers on where you can hunt for internships, you need to go to internship portals like Internshala or Let's Intern, or you also can ask your seniors or your alumni or anyone. You need to reach out to people to get internships done, because they will help you a lot while hunting for jobs as a fresher. And then try and get as many certifications as possible. Maybe a couple of certifications will also do wonders for you. It will help you a lot. And you need to get into your industrial training and workshops. All these workshops, I think, as per my experience, the BMSIT faculty try their best to get as many workshops as possible, hands-on workshops. These workshops really help you in your interviews also. You can mention that in your resumes, and it will help you to have that cutting edge over your competitors. And then try and get as many technical papers as possible. the main key factor is you need to have a high impact factor, kind of a technical paper. Your faculty will assist you with this. Even though if it is a review paper, it is good for your resume. A technical paper from a good journal will boost your profile a lot. And then try and understand your projects whenever you're going through your 8th semester and 7th semester projects. You need to keep completely understand what you're getting into, because every interview you will have a question on the projects that you've conducted as one of the questions. So be really good with what you do in your projects. Can you go to the next slide? So if you want to know more about job hunting, the first thing is you need a strong resume. To have a strong resume, you need to fulfill most of the things that I've discussed about in the previous slide. And then you need to create your LinkedIn profiles. LinkedIn profiles is a must. Try and make as many connections as possible, and look out for jobs. Try and follow as many companies as possible. That will help you in knowing how many vacancies are there and what kind of vacancies are there. You can prepare accordingly, and then keep in touch with your alumni. Don't skip your alumni meets. So keep in touch with them; they will come in handy. And then you can also refer to job portals like Naukri, Indeed, Glassdoor. These are all, I think most of you should already know about all these things. So yeah, that's my tip for you guys in CA field.
Okay, thank you, Shreyas.
Yeah.
So this is coming to my part of this presentation. So first I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Karan Manoj. I graduated from BMSIT in 2019, and I started working in MSc Software, which has an office in Bangalore in around September. So my domain is mainly acoustics, acoustic simulations. And to mention some background about technical background, I had done a project of using CFD. I used ANSYS tool. So this CFD project was done under guidance of Madhu sir, and even Kirti sir helped a lot in this project. And I had also done some internships. One internship in Precise Tooling Systems, which is in Pina. It's a design company. And I'd also done internship in Railwheel Factory in Sri Lanka. So if you people have any questions, you can reach out to me. My email ID is given in this presentation. So coming to the acoustics domain, which I work in. I work in MSc Software as an engineer, and the MSc Software, to give some background, has its company which develops many types of simulation software. It's similar to ANSYS or Altair. And MSc Software has multiple tools, as the previous people had mentioned, MSc Adams, MSc Nastran, Patron, and so on. And the tool which I work on is called as Actron, which is for acoustic simulations. So coming to acoustics, we basically study sound, or how sound is propagated, how sound is generated, and also the effects of sound on people are also considered in acoustics. So just a very brief theory about acoustics. There are two types of sources generally in acoustics. One or two domains in acoustics. One is vibroacoustics, which is acoustics due to any vibrating surfaces. Could be like an engine surface vibrating, or gearbox vibrations, and so on. Another aspect of acoustics is aeroacoustics, where instead of the source of noise or sound being vibrations, it is a turbulent flow. Okay, so these are the two broad classifications of acoustics. I work on both of them. And coming to acoustics, how it is analyzed by people. Basically, before FEM software or acoustic analysis softwares came into the picture, mostly it was people who were designing vehicles or any equipment which used to make a lot of sound. they used to have some kind of empirical calculations. So just like we have in DME subject, we have our design data handbook, which tells if you have some shaft and you have so much load and some fatigue conditions and so on, what would be the diameter? So some kind of equivalent formulae or methodologies were developed. These are the empirical calculations. Another way of studying acoustics is experimental tests. So if we take any component, we usually keep it in a large open field, for example, or in an reverberant chamber or an anechoic room. So in these conditions, what we do is basically we keep that equipment and we place some microphones around it, and we measure the sound coming from that equipment. So we can understand in real life scenario what kind of sound will be heard from this whatever machine you are testing. Now coming to what I do, I'm in the simulation field. So I use Actron software to replicate experimental tests. Whatever test setup is done in experiments can be done in simulation as well. And we can also, to some extent, empirical formulae are also used in simulations. So that is some basic idea of acoustics. Now I'll not go into too much detail of some theory about acoustics. I'll mention some of the applications so that you can get an idea of acoustics, how it is used in the industry. So coming to automotive sector, we have some applications such as muffler noise or tailpipe noise, basically an exhaust pipe of a car or a bike. We can analyze the silencer or muffler and try and design it to make it quieter. Some other applications for automotive sector are engine noise or gearbox or any machinery parts within a car or any other vehicle, basically. And also, it's not purely vibroacoustics. As I mentioned, there is aeroacoustics as well. So in a car, on the front portion, we have the grille. So, and we also have that exhaust system. So we also have flow of some high-speed wind flowing over a car, for example. So due to this wind, we also get some wind noise or aerodynamic noise. So this is also considered into picture when we do simulations for acoustics. One other aspect or important aspect in automotive sector is designing of sound absorbing materials. So if generally in a car, we have something called as a firewall in this region, or we have some carpets and cushions, all kinds of special materials are used for these cars in order to make it reduce the sound, basically. And this image, if you can see my mouse, is for a muffler, just image of the simulation. So we can see the pressure at different frequencies, how it is propagating within the muffler. And we also get measured sound at microphone locations. So that is for automotive. We also have various aerospace applications for acoustics, such as it could be fan noise due to a fan, or it could be an exhaust fan, for example. What is the noise being generated due to the flow or due to the rotation of the fan, or HVAC ducts, or that HVAC stands for heating, ventilation and air conditioning. So wherever, if we have an AC duct in a car or in an office space, so due to the flow, we get some kind of turbulent air, and this turbulent wind causes noise. So this is an image of the sound measured from this HVAC duct. So some other applications would be wind loading on aeroplane walls. Due to the turbulent wind, the aeroplane walls start to vibrate, and that produces sound inside. And we also can design nacelles. Nacelle is you can see this kind of engine below the aeroplane wings. You must have seen that. So nacelle and nacelle liners, some kind of special materials can also be simulated. And this So design of nacelles is an important application if in acoustics. So coming to next slide, we also have applications of acoustics in heavy machinery. It could be some kind of equipment such as diesel generators or construction equipment, and even motors and pumps and so on. So in this image, you can see it is basically an electric motor. We are simulating due to the running of the motor, there is some vibrations coming from the stator due to electromagnetic loading. So this plot or map contour plot is showing how the sound radiates from this engine, from this motor. And this is a test setup for this kind of digging machine, excavator kind of machine. So this test setup can be simulated in software. So the advantage of acoustic simulation is we don't have to spend a lot of money on setting up expensive testing setup and reading data from microphones, trying to interpret it and all. All of this can be done within simulation. So coming to consumer goods, just some examples could be like refrigerators or washing machines. We try and reduce the sound of those. And one important application of acoustics is designing of speakers and the speaker enclosures. So if you get into the acoustics or NVH, which is noise vibration harshness domain, you can work for companies such as Harman or Bose and so on. And maybe you can work directly and design speakers to be more efficient at all frequencies while consuming less power. And some other general consumer goods such as air coolers, tables, fans, etc. can be designed or analyzed using simulation software. So that is just a brief overview of applications of acoustics, just to kind of kindle your interest towards acoustics, and so that you'll get a feel of whether you are interested in following this line or not. So I've just put some points about how to get into this acoustics field, or even generally in CAE domain. I've tried to keep these points general. So even if it's not simulation side you're interested in, maybe manufacturing or production, I've tried to keep these points general so that it can be applicable for those people as well. So as the people had mentioned previously, LinkedIn and job portals are very important. I would say one comment on LinkedIn. One good thing you can do is you can follow the profiles of the various OEMs and large companies which you're interested in. So you can get to know what work they're doing currently, what is the latest trends in mechanical engineering. So by following these companies, you can also, what I would suggest is, since I'm sure many of you will anyway apply in job portals, but as you know, there's a lot of competition, and whichever company HR gets your resumes, they have to go through a lot of resumes and they might not go through your resume properly. So one other method I would suggest is directly sending your resume to engineers of various companies through LinkedIn. You can just forward your resume and tell them, I'm a fresher, I'm interested in working in your company. Or if you have any contacts or anyone who's interested in my expertise, you can please forward my resume to that person. Something like that you can do using LinkedIn. That is my personal suggestion. Nextly, coming to resume, I feel resume is a very important thing because your HR person is just going to read it for a few minutes, and or maybe even less than that, and he or she should be able to understand what are your skills, and you should make it very clean and neat so that they can easily pick up information from the resume. So that's why I feel a good resume is very important. One other thing I'd like to mention is, if I'm sure, I think now they've made it mandatory for all of you to join the alumni portal of BMSIT. I think alumni.bmsit.ac.in is the website. So I had noticed this, I think a few months back when I was browsing through that. They have a feature where some alumni of BMSIT, you can send your resume to them and they will give you advice on how to improve your resume. And so I feel you can try this option. Otherwise, there are paid services to people who will check your resume and make it better. But I feel let our own alumni who will know the job market better do it. I feel that's better. One other point I felt is coming to electives. As in the later scheme, we have many electives available. Not only mechanical, we can go for other subject electives. So what I personally feel is you should try and go into electives of your interest. You might be scared thinking, oh, I have a lot to study and the subject is very difficult, I might not get good marks. But I feel you should really try and you take even tough electives if it's your interest, because it's going to help you in the future. When you go to a company, you can say, I know CFD or I know Python or whatever additional electives you have taken, something which makes you stand apart from other people. So I personally took a lot of different electives, whichever I felt was relevant or would help my career or was interesting. Coming to projects, I feel I'm sure many of you, when you reach your final year, you'll have to do your final year project. So as I had mentioned in the previous slides, my project was on CFD, and though I'm now currently in acoustics domain, when I had joined this company, because I had a CFD project, it helped me stand out among other people. And any simulation skills is always helpful. If you might not get into the same domain, maybe you will do some structural FEA simulation in your project, but you might get an opportunity to do CFD. But it's always helpful, because once you pick up one simulation software, it's easier to pick up other simulation softwares. So I would say, if you're interested in simulation or CAE, try and do those kind of projects. And one other advantage I feel is, you don't have to spend a lot of money on using CFD, simulation softwares. If you go for building a car or Baha competition or whatever, rather than that, you can do a simulation software project, and very easily you can do it, I feel. Some more points. I feel that you can try publishing research papers if you can. I personally had published my own project, final year project. I had converted it into paper and I presented it at Ramaya. So that's another plus point. You can tell when you're going for your job interview that I have presented a paper at a conference, or I have got my paper accepted by a journal. So this is again a plus point for you. And you can also participate in a lot of competitions. Need not be directly of your interest, but in any competition, if you participate, I feel you will get a lot of knowledge, because you'll be working on that kind of during these competitions, you might have to develop something. So you will get a lot of skills which will be helpful later. You can also go for courses, online courses such as NPTEL. There is one course in acoustics if you're interested. Even Coursera has a course on acoustics, and FEM in general also. And I'd like to conclude by saying you should be open-minded, in my opinion. You don't just restrict yourself to one particular domain and say, I want to work only in this, because you don't know in the future what opportunities you may get. So whatever opportunity you get, if you feel it's good, you should take it. And don't restrict yourself only to mechanical field, I feel. As previously mentioned, there is scope in programming as well. And you can also pick up maybe other subjects, electives. It might be helpful in the future, you don't know. So I would say try and learn as much as possible in this time. So with that, I'd like to conclude my presentation and I'll hand it over to Vivek sir.
Yeah, Karan, let me quickly go through Abhishek's slides. Can you
Yes.
go to start with Abhishek's slide?
Okay.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. This is Vivek again. Sorry for the initial delay. There was some problem in connecting to my audio system on the laptop. So I'll briefly go through this presentation on CFD or computational fluid dynamics, which our Abhishek has not been able to present due to some problem with his microphone. I think due to the browser at the last minute, all of us were taken off guard due to some browser settings. So no, next slide, please. So Abhishek himself has graduated in MTech and he is working in the area of CFD. And his project also was study on flow through oil pipes. So you see it as a pattern that usually whatever projects you do, there is always a possibility that you get into a job related to that, provided you do the project good and others should notice and appreciate that. And he also does his internship at UTC, that is otherwise called Goodrich earlier. And currently he is working as a CFD application engineer at Solaris India, Bangalore. Next slide. Yeah, CFD itself is a very widely used tool, although it is generally perceived to be a bit complex and a bit difficult, but it has got a lot of applications. So as we can see the pictures here, it is used in aerospace. The basic lift that occurs on the aircraft is a CFD phenomena. A lot of research goes into that. And then automobiles, for example, the drag coefficient, and then all the aerodynamic profiling. And in this car picture, you see a certain contour behind the mirror there. Okay, that is called as the mirror noise. Okay, a lot of phenomena get simulated in automobile. And for example, the thermal comfort. This bottom left picture is about what is the temperature felt by people who are sitting, let us say, in an aircraft or in a cabin and so on. Thermal studies are done. That is also part of CFD. And then you also see some fans, the flow across fan, the cooling effect of the fan, the cooling effect of an air conditioner. All these are subject to detailed CFD studies. Next slide. Next slide, Karan.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the previous. Yeah. So the subdivisions within CFD are, as I said briefly, aerodynamics, multi-phase flows. HVAC is again air conditioning simulation, electronic thermal cooling. Companies like Microphone, and then there is a company called Nidec in Singapore and Southeast Asia. They do a lot of studies on the cooling systems of the electronic system. If any electronic systems get heated beyond some point, it will fail. So cooling is a very critical area to be studied by all electronic enclosures manufacturers. Then turbo machinery applications like it could be like hydro generators or any kind of thermal generators, etc. CFD is very important in that. Heat transfer simulation, wherever there is any either a heating scenario or a cooling scenario, refrigeration scenario, CFD is very much applicable there. Next slide. And in the industry itself, a lot of companies do R&D. We use a term called OEM. OEM stands for original equipment manufacturer, which basically means some company which has its own brand of vehicles, like Tata Motors, Mahindra. These are what we mean by OEMs. All these big companies in automobile, aerospace, for example, in Bangalore, there is a R&D center of Boeing and Airbus and so on. They are continuously doing research to improve on the CFD aspects of design of their products. The projects are always there. It is on continuously. And then, so typical titles are like the CFD analysis, CFD developer, or test engineer. A lot of times people have testing facilities and then they try to simulate to correlate to the test. Next slide. And so some general comments, Abhishek's perspective, be strong with fundamentals. In the case of CFD, it is fluid mechanics, heat transfer. You can also look at post-graduation also. Usually there is a thermal sciences, there will be a post-graduation. They focus a bit more on these aspects on that. and understand the basic theoretical concept. These are common to all the things. And commercial tools. So it is important to have at least one or two commercial tools that you have some hands-on experience. So there are various tools like, I think ANSYS is one tool, must be available in your college also, I assume. Then there are other products like RCCM Plus and OpenFOAM and SCFlow, etc. Try to learn some of these tools, and the problems can be very simple, but still understand how it works. And internship and LinkedIn, other things, like all the other people have told. Next slide. Yeah, so this is the and Karan, can you go to the last couple of slides?
Hello.
Correct. Yeah, the last 2-3 slides where I added something. We'll go back to that. Yeah, the previous one. Yeah. Okay. So now, last about maybe 5-10 minutes, I'd like to summarize what all the other people have told, and which is basically what I have been wanting to tell you also. Even if I would have spoken the whole 1 hour, I would have told the same things only. So CAE is a very important area. CAE is here to stay. Any product design company will need CAE and uses CAE in a wide range of manner. It could be structural SEA, it could be CFD, it could be customization of various tools. All CAE tools generate enormous amounts of data. Okay, it is like if you take a car, if you take an aircraft, it will generate the displacement at every node of the car, every node of the aircraft, every element in that aircraft, and sifting through the data and making sense of that large amount of data generated is always a challenge. The models also become bigger and bigger, and hence we have this customization requirement. There are a lot of customization which people do too, so that somehow by the program itself, it will try and filter out all the unwanted information and somehow locate the critical information which is required by the designer to take a decision. So that is the background of programming and customization in CAE. So that is very much there. And then multi-body dynamics, Shreyas mentioned, and the NVH acoustics are there. So all these jobs are there in Bangalore, in Karnataka, in India. They are there day in and day out. It is up to each of us to learn on the topic, learn on the fundamentals, learn on the tools, and approach these people and try and get started. And the underlying concepts are always important. It is never just the tool. Nobody will recruit a person just because he knows how to operate a tool. They will basically say, how are you sure the data you have given as the input is correct? Okay, how are you sure that the data that is coming out makes sense or not? So it is very important to understand that. And for that, all the underlying subjects like applied mechanics, strength of materials, machine design, fluid mechanics, FEA, then kinematics or KOM, DOM, what we say, then the numerical methods. It need not be that you need not know all the end-to-end of all these subjects, but a basic feel for that you should have. Meaning that, let's say, strength of materials, what is stress, why does stress develop, what is von Mises stress, what is principal stress, why do we need so many types of stresses, and in terms of machine design, for example, what is stress concentration factor, how does it develop? So a basic, you can say, a practical feel for all these the parameters and the numbers and the equations that we see in these theories. We need to understand that. Numerical method, for example, how can I solve? An entire SEM program is basically running on a numerical method. Okay, so we need to have a basic idea of numerical method. How does it work? What is the input? What is the output? And so on. Next slide. The underlying concept, then other thing on the tool, some exposure to tool, like all the people have told earlier. There are student versions, there are softwares available in your college, and you need not do very complex work, do simple work, do minimal work, but understand completely every step of what you are doing in that work with respect to the usage of the tool. Suppose you choose some element size, why should I take 5 millimeter? Why should not 10 millimeter? Why not 15 millimeter element size? You need to think and question every aspect of that. That will lead you to the learning. So multi-body software, then something on programming will always help. Nowadays Python is used a lot. Actually language doesn't matter. It is more of a thinking, you can say, aspect of that. Get used to programming, it always helps. And if the tool is of your choice, student versions are always available. You can go to the website of any software company and search for student version. It is easily available. If you learn that itself is more than enough. And softwares are available at college. Go through tutorials, understand, ask questions to your guide, to your other colleagues. That helps a lot. And projects, papers, internships, take up a project which involves a CAE tool, and so that your interest gets highlighted to whoever is seeing the project. if the project is good, need not be complex, it can be simple, but it should be a real and a practical project and not something for sake of doing it. So if it is a good project, there is always appreciation in the industry. Then the same project you can try publishing it as a paper, and internet has got all the information needed. There is no and LinkedIn is very important. A lot of recruitment happen purely on LinkedIn nowadays. The HR and other people simply search on LinkedIn. They shortlist people on registration and keeping track are important. And if you are interested in specific areas, it is always a good idea to take up further studies. You can take up post-graduation, MTech, either at your college, any other college, going to PhD. And a specialization always helps, but again, not for sake of doing the course. You have to really get interested in the subject, and then you have to do well and understand it well. Then it will really help if any of these areas to do the further studies also. Next slide. Yeah, I think this is more or less what we have wanted to convey. And okay, I myself didn't introduce myself initially. I have been working in this domain almost my entire career of almost 20 plus years. And over the last 20 years, there has been tremendous change in the CAE domain. When it started initially, nobody knew what was a CAE. He was scared of a CAE. From that point, nowadays it is it is like nobody does anything without a CAE. Nobody does anything without CAE. It has reached here. At the same time, not many people really understand what happens, why it happens, and what are the underlying principles. So in summary, I would say CAE has got a lot of prospects. It has got very, you can say, bright futures. Jobs will always be there. However, the key is you need to decide for yourself that you are interested in CAE. You need to start learning on that, learn the underlying subjects, learn the tools, take up a project, and you need to proceed step by step. And definitely, now all the people who have spoken here, plus Abhishek on whom behalf I presented, all these people are from your own college, your own background, and who are very good compared to any other CAE standard job. They are doing very well in the industry. They are having the best of the jobs in the industry as far as CAE is concerned. So there is no reason why any of you also should not be able to pick up on the same lines and get similar jobs. Okay. So with that, I would like to end our presentation. Any question, get in touch. And this presentation itself is shareable. I have said it your HOD. The PDF version I will ask him to forward to all of you. The email IDs of all of us are there. You can reach out to us, or you can reach out to us through your professor. We will be happy to answer and help on that. So with that, I conclude. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. I request students, if you have any specific doubts to be asked to Vivek sir or to any of his team members, you can do so. Okay, if you have any specific doubt or anything regarding the CAE prospects, please go ahead and please ask your doubts. Any doubts as such? Hello? Can you able to hear me at least?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So we can hear. Any doubts?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. If you got any doubt, you can go ahead. Or else if nothing is there, for a minute I'll wait, and then we'll conclude this session. Vivek sir?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
So thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for giving insight into the job prospects at CAE. So we'll go ahead. We'll make sure that some work is going to happen with respect to the projects for our students. So we'll make sure that there is a good amount of projects, and interestedly they are going to look into the projects. Clearly, we'll just make sure that happens. Okay. So students, have any doubts? Yeah, I think nobody is speaking out. So we'll assume that you got it. Okay, I'll just share those presentations to you. So leisurely you just go through. Okay, if you got any doubt, you can reach out to the email IDs which has been mentioned there. Okay. So I take this opportunity to once again thank Vivek sir. Okay, thank you sir. Thank you Vivek sir for presenting, for taking out your time and presenting. And also I'd like to thank my dear alumni friends. Rakesh DB, thank you. Rakesh.
Thank you.
Thank you, Abhishek. I think Abhishek, we could not able to speak. Okay. Sir, there is one question, sir, on the chat box. Vivek, sir, or anybody, any team member?
Yes, sir, I'm available. Sir.
There is
Go
one,
Okay,
there is
chat.
one question on the chat box, please.
Yeah, okay, okay. I'm seeing that. Yes. So are all simulation software trustworthy, or are they need one? The answer is all softwares are trustworthy. Okay. If there is no software which is untrustworthy, it will usually be not bigger in the market, because the market is a very competitive market. Okay. Just like you can say, it is like asking that are all cars good? Okay. You can say all cars are safe and you can drive. Otherwise, nobody will buy them. Okay. So like that, from your perspective, all the softwares are good, with some specialization. If you say I want to solve some hypersonic speed simulation I want to solve, at that level maybe there is some difference in the software. But to start with, from point of view of most simulation, all the existing market existing softwares are trustable, and all the softwares will give the same answer if you understand and use them properly. Okay, the key is that you have to, but all the software may have some different terminology, all the software may have some slightly different look to it. Okay, but underlying all are same, and at your level it is important that any one software you pick up, but understand that really well. That is all that is important. So that's all, sir. That's the answer.
Yeah. Any more question? You can just type in the chat box. No problem. Yeah, Abhishek, we could not able to connect to you. Okay, thank you, Abhishek. So Pradeep, our MCA friend. Okay, thank you, Mr. Pradeep, okay, for joining. Then Shreyas, thank you, Shreyas, and thanks, Mr. Manoj. Okay,
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much from you. Thank you. Right. I take this opportunity to thank you all, and if everything is fine, okay, we'll close the session now. So I wish all a happy stay at home and happy time. Stay safe, stay healthy. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Vivek, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, students. Thank you, students, for joining.